Welcome to 7SY. I'm Mrs. Millership and I'll be your form tutor when you start at Dormston in September. Hello, let me tell you a little more about myself. You'll see on the screen there's lots of different pictures and they're all things that I really value. I'm an English teacher. I have worked at the school for the last 22 years. I started way back in 1999, which was a long time before you were even born. I love the school. I've always loved school. I loved it even when I was at school, which is probably why I've become a teacher. And I'm really hoping that I can help you on your journey through Dormston and see you through to year 11 when you'll be young adults, which seems a very long way off yet. On the screen you'll see there's a picture of my family. I love them very much. They're the centre of my world. I've got a son who's in year 9, who'll be starting his GCSEs in September, and a daughter who's just left school and she'll be on her way to college. I also love my cats very much. You'll see the picture of them soundly asleep at the bottom of the screen there, and they're rescue cats and they were found in a bin bag on a car park, and we actually adopted them from a rescue shelter and their lives are much happier now. You'll also see there's some pictures of some musicals on there, Wicked, Matilda and Les Miserables, and they're musicals that I love. I love the theatre and I found it quite sad in recent times that the theatres haven't been open, and I can't wait to get back there. Another escape for me is books. Obviously teaching English, I really love books, and you'll see when you're in my form room that every week or so the book that I'm reading will change, and I try and always show students what I'm reading to try and inspire them to enjoy reading too. At the top of the screen you'll see there's a West Bromwich Albion crest. It's not particularly popular in these parts because everyone seems to support Wolves, but we can't help who we support, can we, if it's our family connections, and I've grown up with it and had a season ticket there for the last 27 years, so I'm hoping we'll have some better times in the future. And then right at the top is something that I really value, the idea of being kind to other people. I think it's underrated quality in people, but I think it's something that's really important. You never know what someone is going through in their lives, and as it says there, you will never regret being kind. I cannot wait to find out more about you. Right, I've told you a little about myself and now it's your turn. On the next slide you will see a This Is Me sheet, and it's not lots of writing, but it's just a way that you can tell us something about you and what interests you and what you value. There is no requirement to print this off. If you don't have a printer home, that's absolutely fine. You could just kind of take a picture on your phone and maybe draw out the boxes on a piece of paper and fill in the sections. It's not what it looks like that's important, it's what's on it and what we can learn about you. So this is the space where you get to tell me more about you. I've mentioned before you'll find this on our website, but you don't have to print it out. You can just draw it out and put the relevant information in the boxes. So some of the boxes are really straightforward, for example where you put your name, your birthday, members of your family, but there might be other things that you're not quite sure about. So for example, things I am good at, that doesn't have to be school subjects. That can be things to do with your personality, it can be things to do with things that you do outside of school. You might be really good at sports and you might play for a certain team, or you might be a karate champion. It can be school subjects, but it can even be something to do with your personality and the kind of person you are. You might be really good at looking after a younger brother or sister, or you might be really good at organising things. There's a box there for things you need more help with, and again that doesn't have to be school subjects. It might be that you're not very good at making friends and you need more help with that. It could be a school thing, but it doesn't have to be. You've then got some sections to do with who your heroes are and the people that you look up to and listen to the most. And it would be lovely there if you said who that person was and why you feel that way. You've then got sections for hobbies, which are quite straightforward. I've already mentioned mine, that I love going to the theatre and I like to read and I like going to see the Albion. And then you've got things in life that you like and things in life you dislike, and it's entirely up to you what you choose to put into those boxes. I hope you enjoy filling that out, and I can't wait to learn more about you. This is 7 for 7. This is something special we do just for year 7. You'll see there are 7 activities, events and opportunities that we put on for you in year 7. There are some that go on throughout the whole year and beyond, like reading, but others are just one-off activities or events that we encourage you to participate in or take advantage of. Number 1 is reading, and this relates to a summer reading book which has already been passed on to your primary school, and many of you will already have that now. We ask you to read that over the summer. There are various challenge activities related to that, and there's a reading section on the induction section on the website. Once you're in school in September, you also get bespoke reading lessons. Now, these aren't your English lessons, they're one-off reading lessons where you read a class reader and you can just enjoy reading without having to write about anything or without having to complete any assessments, and that's just one lesson a fortnight. Once you get here in September, you'll register with our PLC, that's our library, and Mrs. Elsmore's the librarian there, and she's really passionate about ensuring that all pupils read for pleasure regularly. If there's any authors that you like, if you go and speak to Mrs. Elsmore, she will find you other books by the same author, or she will find similar books related to that author. She's an absolute whiz at knowing everything about reading, so you need to introduce yourself to her if you really like reading. Number 2 is a residential. That's where you go away from home and stay overnight, completing various team building activities. Obviously, you'll have further details of this in September, and it will be dependent on COVID regulations. Number 3 is to do with aspirations and future, and we run lots of events that we hope will help to aspire all of you. This includes our links with Oxford University, and we either run a trip out there or have Oxbridge come to us so you can get a flavour of what life in university could be like. We know that this doesn't appeal to all of you, but some of you will have aspirations to go on to university, and it's lovely to just dip into that at a very young age. We also have futures events running, which are all to do with careers all through the school year, where you can learn about options after you've left school, things like apprenticeships and traineeships, and working with a co-op with a focus on fair trade and sustainability activity. 4 is character education. This enables all of you to really focus on your best character traits and the kind of person you want to be, and we do this during our PHSE lessons, which again you have just once a fortnight. Number 5 is a theatre trip, and I really like this one. We're hoping to be able to take all of you to go to the theatre. Now, that might be Birmingham Rep, or it may be going on a day visit down to London to watch a production there. 6 is related to community and charity. So in year 7, in 7 House, we try to raise money for our school charity, and that changes each year, and we try to carry out activities like the Sedgley Litter Pick to benefit our community. 7 is extracurricular and inter-house competitions, and I'd really like in year 7 for you all to get involved in the wider school life, because once you start to take involvement in extracurricular activities and competitions, you feel so much more part of the school. We run a range of extracurricular activities, and a timetable of those will be given to you when you join us in September. Hopefully you'll be able to be involved in several of these after school, and the aim is for all of us to be having a go at something new, as well as things that you might already know that you enjoy. Throughout the year we run several inter-house competitions, some of which you can all get involved in. For example, we have a rowing competition where every single person in the school rows for 2 minutes, and it's a race against all the other houses. But there are other ones that you opt for. So for example, we have an inter-house arts competition where there'll be a chosen theme and you submit a piece of work, be it a piece of art, drama, dance or music. And that all culminates in a sports day right at the end of the year where each house competes against each other, and you can earn house points and we can move up and win a trophy for our house. In this next stage of the PowerPoint, you'll just find out a little more about the Dormston School. This slide is all about Dormston's core values. Mr. Dixon has already spoken to you about each of these. Reflect on the activities that you've already done in your Be Awesome, Go Big booklet and think about how those link to Dormston's core values. The activities can be found on our website. Core values are really, really important to all of us, and we should try to demonstrate these both in and outside of school whenever we get the chance. This slide is all to do with people who are here to help you once you start in September. We know how hard it is to transition from year 6 to year 7 and to change school, and the fact that you haven't had a taster day and an induction day makes it all that bit more anxious for you. You'll see there are some names. You're not expected to remember all of these, but I'm pretty sure once you start in September you'll get to know these people quite well. Your first port of call will always be your form tutor, which is me. You'll find when you meet me, I'm really easy to talk to, I'm a good listener, and you can come and talk to me about absolutely anything that is worrying you. If it's something slightly more serious, it may be that it's something that either Miss Ward or Miss Legg, as the head of house or deputy head of house, may deal with. And we've also got our year 7 leads, Mrs. Basan and Mr. McLaughlin, who again will be looking after you as you transition from year 6 to year 7 and to help you settle in at the Dormston School. At the bottom of the screen, it's not only adults who are here to help you, we've also got older students. In year 11 we have head boys, head girls and deputy head boys and girls who are just looking after pupils within 7 house, and you'll get to meet those in assembly. There are no names on there at the moment because they haven't yet been appointed to their positions, but you'll certainly get to know those in September. And there'll also be some older students that are specifically assigned to our form. So again, if you're out at lunchtime and you're worried about something, they'll be visible. And if you feel like you can't talk to a teacher, you can always go and speak to these older students. So hopefully you won't have any worries and you'll be perfectly fine. But it's just to know that we want to look after you, we want to support you, we want to keep you safe. And there are lots of different people that you can go to for that help. This slide is all to do with the leadership team. You'll see at the top, you'll no doubt know that name, Mr. Dixon, who's our head teacher. And beneath that, you've got Mr. Carroll and Mrs. Elliott, who are our deputy head teachers. You'll then see at the bottom of the screen, there are lots of assistant head teachers. We've got Mr. Grundy, Mrs. Basan, Mr. Amos, Mrs. Mescam and Mrs. Mosley. They all teach various subjects across the school and they've got various responsibilities for different aspects within school, and I'm sure you'll get to know all of those when you start in September. What follows is, as it says on the slide, a lot of other useful information. There's an awful lot of it and no one's expecting anyone to remember it straight away. All of it will be covered again in a parents' transition evening on Teams on Thursday the 1st of July. This is all to do with a typical day at Dormston. It's very different to primary school, but you really don't need to worry because you'll soon become familiar with it all. At the start of the day, for the first 20 minutes, from 20 to 9 until 9 o'clock, you're in form time. That's a place where you get to talk to me, where we get to complete different activities and messages get passed on. During the school morning, you will get one 15-minute break, and then obviously you also get half an hour's lunch. When these breaks and lunches are will all depend on COVID restrictions and whether we're still sticking to year group bubbles, in which case the times will be at different times during the day depending on the year group you're in. The day consists of 5 one-hour lessons, and what's really different from primary is that you won't stay in the same room. So every lesson will take place in a self-contained block. So English is on one corridor, Maths is on another, we have languages in a different block, science in a different block, and so on. So you'll move around the school according to which lesson you have on any particular day. When you arrive in September, you'll be given a planner, and your timetable will be in that planner that you carry around with you, explaining exactly which room and which subject you are going at any time during the day. So really you shouldn't have any worries at all. At Dixon, we expect all pupils to be prepared for success. This means that everyone has disruption-free learning and can learn to the best of their ability in each of their lessons. You'll learn more about this when you're at the school, but it kind of covers things like success for yourself, success around the school and in the community, but also success in lessons. And as I said, you'll learn more about this when you join us in September. Responsibility is one of the school's core values, and that means you need to be prepared for success when you arrive in school and to every lesson. It means supporting other people to achieve success and making sure that your learning environment is always conducive to successful outcomes. We always want you to be successful and be responsible about your appearance, and that means you wear the correct uniform and you wear it with pride. So I mentioned this briefly on the previous slide. It's split into 3 key areas prepared for success. The first is success for yourself, and as you can see, it's that idea of treating all staff and other students with respect, wearing your uniform correctly and with pride, and putting 100% effort into all you do. That means not only in your lessons but any extracurricular activities you take part in. The second strand is success around the school and in the community. So again, that's linked to this idea of responsibility. Walk calmly and sensibly. Don't push into people, make contact with people as you walk. We operate one-way systems on certain blocks that are busier in the school, and it's making sure that you use the correct stairwells where that happens, not dropping litter and respecting the environment. And finally, success in lessons, making sure that you are on time for those lessons where your teachers will be there to meet and greet you. Be ready to learn, have the correct equipment, remember your exercise books. Make sure you follow instructions, make sure you always listen when others are speaking. You may not always agree with them, but it's really important to value everybody's opinion. Keep off-task conversation for any social time, so really that shouldn't be happening in lessons. To work in silence when you're asked, and then obviously at the end of a lesson your teachers will ask you to push your chairs under and to wait behind your chairs until you're dismissed. Again, it's doing that calmly and sensibly. There are lots of rules in school, one of which is to do with mobile phones. We understand that you'll want a mobile phone, especially if you're travelling to school on your own or on public transport. But so that learning isn't affected by mobile phones, we ask that you drop that off to pupil reception before school starts. That will be exchanged for a token, and then you collect your phone at the end of the school day. We also ask that you have the correct equipment for learning, so pens, pencils, rulers, a rubber, a sharpener and a calculator. Even if you haven't got maths, it's important to have a calculator because you might need it, for instance, in any science lessons. You won't have PE every day, but on the days you do have PE or dance, you'll be asked to bring in a very specific PE kit. In September, you'll be given a student planner that has lots of important information in it. It's also a place you're going to record your homework, but that homework is also recorded electronically on a platform called Go for Schools, which you'll learn about in September. It's really important you have your planner with you every day, because at the front of that planner you'll have a copy of your timetable, and especially in the early weeks it enables you to know exactly where you should be and what time you should be there. So Go for Schools is our online information system, and you'll be given all access codes to that when you start in September. Once you and your parents have logged on, you're going to have electronic access to all of your timetable, homework, behaviour records, attendance, target grades and other key information 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So I've just given you lots and lots of information. You're not expected to remember it all, and obviously when you come here in September we'll remind you of all the key rules. On this slide, as you can see, there are some things that you do need to remember when you join us. Of course you're going to be a bit uncertain and anxious, but you have to remember that we're going to be here to help you. As I've explained before, I am your first point of call. If anything is worrying you, anything is troubling you, you can always ask me for help. You can ask your head of house for help, the deputy head of house, the peer mentors, or those people in the student leadership team. Again, we've mentioned before to be prepared for success, so make sure that you have success for yourself, success for the community, and success in lessons. Don't forget to be yourself. Make sure you show your personality, and although it will be an anxious time, try not to be so nervous that you don't communicate with others and try to make friends. Remain positive. See it as an opportunity. This is a real chance for a fresh start and to be anything you want to be. Remember to be true to yourself. Don't follow the crowd. Be an individual. Stick to what you believe yourself. Show your talents and show you're an individual by joining in these extracurricular activities. And really importantly, treat others as you would like to be treated yourself. And the final one on there is do the best you can, and that links in with all of our key values of effort and respect, responsibility, resilience and knowledge. Always be the best that you can be. So we've reached the end of our presentation, and that leaves me just to say that I know there has been lots of information that's been provided and you may have many questions. Some of these can be answered on the 1st of July in our Teams meeting, and of course further questions can be asked when you join us in September. That leaves me to say that I wish you the very best, most enjoyable summer holiday. I hope you have time to rest, recuperate and come ready in September to Dormston with a really brilliant attitude and be ready to embrace all the opportunities that going to secondary school can give. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and I look forward to meeting you in September.